on, everybody? So we have a fun review today as we're discussing Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Now, I always champion the horror genre. It's my favorite genre for a reason, but I was not a huge fan of that original Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Huge respect to everybody that created the film. It raked in a whole lot of money at the box office, giving birth to this new cinematic universe they're creating, but to put it lightly, I was not a big fan of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It was one of the films I least enjoyed out of last year. Still, nevertheless, I did want to give this sequel a chance because I was hoping that with the added budget and the feedback, they could definitely improve on things in a sequel. In Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Owl, and Tigger find their homes and their lives endangered after Christopher Robin revealed their existence. Not wanting to live in the shadows any longer, the group decides to take the fight to the town of Ashdown, home of Christopher Robin, leaving a bloody trail of death and mayhem in their wake. Despite going into this having so many reservations, I know this is probably a major shock to many people, but I genuinely had a pretty fun time leaving Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. I mean, sure, it's nothing groundbreaking within the horror genre or anything, but it's more or less what I wanted from that original movie. It wholeheartedly embraces the over-the-top schlocky nature of slasher films and does a better job of utilizing these iconic characters as slasher villains, killing people in different, fun, creative ways. Honestly, it's pretty astounding how pretty much every single aspect across the board is vastly improved in the sequel. One of the biggest ones you'll notice off the bat because of the first film doing so well is they got a slight increase in their budget. You for sure can see that increase in budget showcased quite well on screen visually with the overall VFX work and the usage of practical effects, predominantly in the new designs they have for all the antagonists. In the original Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the designs for Pooh and Piglet were one of the major factors that took me out of the movie. Though I completely understand that it was filmed on an extremely low budget, it didn't look good and that didn't help with my experience at all. But here, the designs for Winnie, Piglet, and then the new characters, Tigger and Owl, all of them look amazing. They look so much better. Each of them look really scary and gross in all the best ways possible. Evoke actual genuine terror anytime that they appear on screen and try to kill people. One of the more interesting surprises to all the antagonists in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 is the fact that they gave all of these different characters their own personalities. In the first film, they had basically no personality. They were soulless monsters that brutally killed people. And to some people, that could certainly be enough what you'd want in a slasher villain, but for me at least, it always is a much better time, a better experience when the killers have some level of personality. Each of them here have their own unique quirks to them, and I think that does add a lot to the entertainment factor. Though each of them have different personalities in the way that they kill people, you can definitely tell some of those personalities are lifted from iconic slasher villains. Who is this giant wrecking ball, a force of nature, very akin to someone like Leatherface or even Michael Myers. Leatherface, I guess, is the better example, considering he does use a flaming chainsaw. Then there's a character like Owl who monologues a lot before he kills people. Feels very akin to someone like Pinhead. Out of the entire bunch of Pooh and Friends, Owl probably was my personal least favorite. My actual favorite was probably Tigger. This interpretation of Tigger is vicious. I got the most entertainment out of his kills. Feels very in line with a character like Freddy Krueger, a slasher villain that likes to tease victims before they kill them. And that's not even including the fact that he calls people bitches, much like Freddy Krueger does. The only thing that was kind of distracting whenever Tigger was on screen is that they do have a CGI tail for the character that you can very clearly tell is not the greatest CGI. And at the end of the day, it is still a very low budget movie, so I'm not going to really hold that against them. To touch upon the kills a little bit more, I had a feeling going in because the kills were one of the most gnarly things about that original. They were just going to try and up the ante in the sequel, and they definitely try to do so. Some of the kills in the sequel are downright nasty. They're a tad bit more creatively executed in this compared to the original film. This one, they're not pulling punches now that they have this bigger budget behind them. Right from the very opening of the movie, there's brutal kills all the way through the end, which if you're a big fan of slashers, especially the more gore-filled ones, I think you're going to have a great time. I mean, there are so many bloody, gross moments to be had, along with some pretty cool stuff. How can you not be hyped watching a movie where Winnie the Pooh wields a flaming chainsaw? These are the type of things I want to see come out of these ideas, taking these iconic characters and turning them into slasher villains. Outside outside the blood and guts of it all, the writing in the sequel is far better. We go from a standard run-of-the-mill slasher movie in the original to a far more engaging story, attempting to craft some intrigue and world building and lore centered around Pooh and his friend's origin, while also giving us more of Christopher Robin's relationship with Pooh and the drama and conflicts in their story leading up to this face-off between them. The quality of the screenplay could be attributed to Matt Leslie joining the writing team, helping write this screenplay. If that name doesn't sound familiar, he wrote a movie called Summer of '84 that I highly recommend. It's a pretty good teen slasher. But I also want to give a lot of credit to Scott Chambers, who is the new Christopher Robin in this. If you hadn't noticed by now, it's a completely different actor playing Christopher Robin. There's actually a couple different recasts in this. One of the more interesting things that caught me off guard about Scott Chambers is that he's actually going to be directing several installments in this cinematic universe. But I did quite enjoy his interpretation of Christopher Robin. I think he added some deeper layers to him as a character with his performance here. It is odd though, it is a bit of a weird tonal mishmash, as the movie does drastically fluctuate between the dramatic nature within this lore between Christopher Robin and Pooh, then it shifts to an ultra gory slasher, and sometimes I don't think those elements mix as well. As far as this movie is concerned, however, and in the future as they are building up this cinematic universe leading up to the Poohniverse Avengers style team-up movie, there is potential here as a cinematic universe to get better and better as you work out the kinks, if you will. So yeah, color me shocked that I end up having a pretty decent time watching Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. I don't know how the rest of those universes is going to go going forward with these Peter Pan movies and Bambi the Reckoning, but if they do continue to show promise with these movies as they go deeper in, I think there could be something here. So that's going to be very intriguing to see what exactly these other cinematic universe movies are. And I've heard my thoughts on Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. Make sure you share your thoughts down below. How'd you feel about the film if you do get a chance to check it out in theaters? Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? I'm really intrigued on if you're someone that went into this, if you were a big fan of the original or you hated the original. How'd you feel in comparison? Do you think the sequel is a vast improvement? Do you think it's worse? Maybe even somewhere in the middle? Either way, I'd love to know all your thoughts down below. Thank you guys, as always, checking out the videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you like on the video and also subscribe to the channel so you're up to date with reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. For the next time, I'll see you guys later.